Welcome. This is Barry Jones from the Angel School, and we're here for our weekly angel reading for April 13th through the 19th, 2020. So let's take a deep breath and connect in with our higher heart and our higher selves. And just see yourself or allow yourself to just be present with your breath. To be present with your soul. And to be present with God and your angels in this moment. Just allow your mind and all of your spiritual essence to be silent and to be a part of this infinite consciousness. This perfect moment of holy alignment. And receive the intuitive messages that are being channeled through your heart. And Archangel Michael comes in at this time to help you to receive those messages, to help support you in being open to the opportunities of abundance, insights, and understanding. And to also amplify your communication, your strength, and power of divine love. There's a sense that Archangel Michael stands beside you on your left-hand side to help you to feel courageous, to boost your courage and your confidence and your focus, he's writing. He wants you to focus your faith in God, and he wants you to focus your faith in God through your inspired life purpose. He wants you to pay attention to those particular passions that fuel your heart flame, that uplifts you and causes you to feel an abundance of joy, and moves you, persuades you, or compels you to action, to take action, to, in a fearless way, when the action that you take is all about uplifting others and offering a valuable service. That you don't see the risk. It almost feels like the fool energy. And right now he's asking you to breathe this divine light that he's going to transmit through you, through your breath, through your inhalation. And he wants you to breathe this light into your lungs. And he keeps writing Jupiter, so he's connecting us and aligning us with those abundance frequencies from Jupiter. And just as you connect in or allow him to link you to that ascended aspect of Jupiter, Jambe, that the frequencies of abundance, just breathing in the light transmissions so that in your lungs you feel a sense of expansion, freedom, as in more space to breathe, unlimitedness. Just take a few deep breaths and really just take in this energy, creating expansion, freedom, unlimitedness within your lungs. Now the lungs are about acceptance. And so this is focusing you on accepting abundance. He's writing that this is the subject that they wish to focus on today. And he's writing the word perfection. I'm not quite sure what he means, but every desire that you have. So he's writing the word donkey. And I don't know, it feels like sometimes maybe we think of ourselves as something less than perfect. Something that's, we feel unworthy. We think of ourselves. We devalue ourselves. He wants you to know that your entire body is listening to you when you speak this way, or you feel this way, or you think this way. Your entire body is listening to you. And it doesn't matter what your status is in this world. It doesn't matter how wealthy or how poor you believe you are. Because he's saying that this is a chronic condition, a chronic illness for humanity. That no matter how much success, fame, or recognition that we receive, the majority of people on the planet end up feeling unworthy. And you may say, that's not me. I got a lot of confidence. I feel great. But every time he's saying the criticism, it's the criticism. Who are we to criticize? Ourselves? The perfection. Because your spirit is a perfection. And it's a perfection that you don't even have to control. This is a natural function. This is a gift. Your perfection is a gift from God. Source, God, pays that. He creates that, and he keeps sustaining that perfection that you are. And every time we criticize each other or criticize ourselves, we devalue. And so there is no one who does not do this at some point during a day or an hour. And it does not mean that because we have those moments, that it cannot lead to some greater value. It can be a moment of enlightenment. It can be constructive. It can build. It can lead us to sort of stand on a principle, or it can allow us to have clarity, right? But most of us take things to heart. And we really have a lot of stress and anxiety about our performance from day to day. And that stress and anxiety is a signal of feelings of unworthiness or thoughts of not being good enough. And within you, because he keeps writing the word Jupiter, so this symbolism of this, and they wrote the word honor. They need you to honor this perfection of abundance. Going back to your mind, your body is listening to you. When your body is listening to you, all of the cells in your body and all the living organisms in your body is a universe of consciousness, just like we are to God. So your voice, your mental chatter is like the voice of God to your body. And with this, you are condemning your body or uplifting, exalting, and healing your body and allowing it to function at that perfection of divine health. Fear is some attachment to unworthiness, that you feel unworthy of the divine perfection given to you, seated within the core of your spiritual essence, your spiritual purity is a beautiful perfection of divinity, and every cell in your body contains these codes of purity. Every cell in your body is a brilliant intelligence of its own perfection in terms of function. When the fall, the original fall occurred, and this separation, the effects of this exposed us, made us vulnerable to this mistrust or this doubt in that perfection, that purity. And in this time, in the ways that we've been, maybe some of you felt like you've been courageous and you fearless in all ways, but Look at what we've created collectively, the kind of world that we created, that now we can no longer accept it. And so we have a virus that's attacking our lungs, which represents our acceptance of our perfection. Because the breath that we breathe in is the breath of God. And so there is something that we have not been in alignment with. And they've been talking about the holy perfection. And I know for some of us, this is a holy week, and tomorrow will be an Easter. And they are focusing on the holy alignment. That if we look at our body as we just did, and now we turn that to the body of our world on many levels, emotional, physical, mental, spiritual, okay, we see an imperfection that is hospitalizing us, they're saying. Because our collective experience shows or exemplifies in some way, displays a devaluing of the perfection that is encoded within us to create. And now we're in the perfect place to be able to listen and start focusing on that. And this is where they want you to really pay attention to that personal chatter, but also the chatter that we hold collectively about our world today. Because all of that negativity is devaluing our holy alignment and our divine perfection. The world, the earth, is encoded with this purity, and it knows how to correct everything that you and I have done. And you and I know how to move forward and correct everything that we've created collectively as a human race. We know what to do. We just have to stop allowing ourselves to continue to do things that create so much stress and anxiety, that keeps creating so much despair in our world for each other. We know what to do, but we are so attached to the things that we can't let go of some of those things. We need to start thinking about how we can share the abundance of our own individual perfection is meant to be shared. In whatever ways that you, because everybody has an advantage, whether you see it or not, it has nothing to do with your economic status. You all have something to offer. And if you start sharing that, whether it's physical resources or spiritual, emotional, mental, whatever it is, start sharing it, start offering that. And many of you are already here because you are compelled to do so. And you're so open to it. And you're ready. Okay, so this card just fell out of the deck. And so I'm going to turn it over and see how it applies with this card. So this is the Queen of Cups reversed. And so I'm going to read the reversals as that internal energy. So something that we're working on internally. So the card here is Archangel Raguel, and it says, everything is how it needs to be right now. Look past the illusion and see underlying order. And we were just talking about that divine order in a sense. We were talking about that divine perfection. You know, we don't have to work for that. It just is. What we have to do is notice how we're holding ourselves outside of that alignment. Stress, all the mental chatter. Some of our mental chatter is abusive to us, and we know it. And some of you maybe have troubles concentrating or sleeping because of the mental chatter that goes on, the criticism that goes on inside of you. And and the thing about it is because your ego has convinced you that you have to fix this problem or a problem or whatever the problems that is convinced you that you have. So that's where the problem starts, is that convincing you that you have one. That's what your ego is going on and on about. And this creates a disability. This creates a disability within you. And one of the things is it disconnects you from your intuition. So if I was just going to think of a key word for the Queen of Cups, is intuition. She's extremely intuitive. And, just looking at the card sort of upright for a minute, she is very connected. She's very much in tune with her own inner reality. And so this reversal may mean that you are needing to really go more within, to spend more time. You may spend a lot of time trying to figure out so what I'm trying to get with the external versus internal is that you may be spending a lot of time right now trying to connect in and figure out where you need to go. What's you focus on what's next on the external. But what you may really need to do this week is focus internally, okay, about where you need to bring more balance within. How can you be more intuitive, meaning, listening and being aware for what's happening within you. Giving more time to yourself, not trying to heal the world out there, but just bringing all of that empathic energy that you usually have for others and just turning it towards yourself is what we're getting at here. And so they really want you to just turn all of that attentiveness that the Queen of Cups usually gives to everyone else and turn all that attentiveness, intuitiveness inward. And pay attention to your own inner perfection of your soul, your spirit. This is not something that you have to, and I like it because she's sitting down, because it's saying it's not about an action of things that you need to do, but it's recognizing how things flow for you, how things, recognizing those patterns of how how things have just worked out for you, how the things that happen without effort. You did something, you participated, but as you were participating, the sense of effortlessness just kind of just expands and grows. Just keeps coming, more keeps coming, because you are not stressing. You are inspired. You are listening. And you're allowing yourself to be guided. You're channeling. And if you can find that place, because we've all had it, but right now you may feel like you're struggling to know what to do. And as you try to be in tune with yourself and to be in tune with what's going on around you, you find it very challenging. One of the reasons is because everybody around you is, in a very freaked out place. So that's not going to give you the kind of stability that you're looking for. I mean, right now, it's not easy for everybody to depend on others or to trust or rely and know that they can, because they're going to turn inward more because they feel like nobody, that everybody, no one can help. And, everybody is in the same position, and everybody feels helpless. And they keep writing out the word energy. And I feel like, what you need to think about is your own energy. So one way, yes, is to meditate. But when you meditate, don't try to just get answers. Don't just be. If anything, just allow yourself to go into that place within your heart, beyond the noise, and where everything becomes still and calm. And you don't know what you're going to hear, what you're going to receive, or what insights may occur to you. You're not going there for anything. It's just to be there. And if you get some kind of reward, oh, amazing. Just, icing on the cake. But turn away from worrying about what's going on externally, and just be present with what's going on internally with you, and see what new connections unfold for you there. But it's a sense of trusting that the idea is that the thought that you want to go in with this is that you don't have to do anything to repair this divine perfection, because it was never broken. It was our separation from it, that attention, our attention separate from it, that is what creates this panic and anxiety and this lack of acceptance. And once you just start realizing that the love of God is not something I have to work for, it's a reward. It's a reward. It's not something you have to earn. It's freely given. And then you can start to think in alignment, find that holy alignment, and start, noticing the opportunities that are around you when you're not thinking about how things were. That's going to be another critical part. Stop thinking about how things were, or what you have and what you had, and how you try to get back to that. No, look for what is available now, and accept that you don't have a clue about what that is, unless you're already feeling some kind of inspiration and passion, and you're feeling really motivated. Then don't think against this. Don't think, well, I'm in this, I can't do this. No, follow that. It was just the other day, yesterday, and just to give you an example, and again, through my singing, but, ever since I had studied with the teacher I last worked with, everything was intuitive. Like, I would all of a sudden be doing something, and then this urge to go do this, do this exercise or sing this song would just be so compelling. I couldn't. And yesterday it happened the same way. It was like, go sing something. I was in the middle of something, and it was as if this song was, I didn't hear it, but it was like I could feel it through my entire being, like moving through me, lifting me. And when I went to sing, all of these technical things that I could not have figured out on my own, it was just there in my mind. It was building. It's been building, and it just came out where my, where my voice should be, etc. And this is the kind of thing I'm talking about. Like, that perfection is there, but we just need to get out of the way and let it happen. Okay, it's nice to say I'm gonna set this time aside, but I find it like this card, divine order is, you can't plan that. Like I was in the middle of something else, but I was also free to do it, to be open to that. And so if that helps a little bit, to connect you maybe to something that you might remember in terms of when things just flow and you don't have to make it happen. Okay? All right, so let's look at the card for the beginning of the week. All right, so we have the Magician. And, you know, first I want to say to you about this card, it's just, the Magician has all of the suits represented in his card, which means he's a very versatile person, that he can, he knows how to work with all the different elements. So there's not a situation that he can't go into that he can't find something or find an opportunity to use his gifts. And so one of the things in this week is that you may want to start looking at, don't sell an opportunity short. Don't sell yourself short, going back to that worthiness thing. And don't sell the opportunity short. There is a reason for you to be there. Wherever you are, there's a purpose for you. There is, and it's like, this just reminds you that you are resourceful. Okay, so I want you to be open-minded, that you are resourceful, that in any situation, you have skills that you can apply to that situation to make it work to your advantage. So think about that in the beginning of the week, about, instead of looking for the perfect opportunity, and I feel like this just so relates to this understanding the divine order, which is just huge vibrational concept that just can't really be put into words. But I feel like the Magician is helping us with this. Like, we usually look for the perfect situation. We want the perfect conditions. But that is external. And again, this internalness of the Queen of Cups is that you need to trust your instincts, your intuition, and no matter what the condition is, that you have the perfect channel of information to feed into that situation, that you can bring any gifts. So right now, a lot of people are out of work, but at the same time, like I know in my city, and this is an example, they're just calling, asking people for skills, businesses that will help during this time. And so don't think that you can't be of some kind of service just because it's not your perfect situation or condition. The perfect situation, condition, the perfection is within you. Your skills, you can be versatile and apply those skills wherever they're needed in any situation that you're in. Okay. And I feel like this is, don't hold on to your resources, okay? Don't hold on to your invaluable resources. This is not the time to sit on them. And, and this really comes from an attitude, unfortunately, of not really believing in yourself. What I love about this card is because it's usually somebody with a lot of money, like this guy looks like he has a lot of education, blah, 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 blah. He's got all the advantages, right? And it's interesting because we have, here two different races of people here. And, we often think of this person as having all the advantages. The thing is that it shows that no matter who we are, we're all scared. It shows us no matter what our status is in this world, that we all, as human beings, we have the same fears. It's sort of like that Shakespeare, if you if you, what is it that if you prick me, do I not bleed? That kind of thing. It just shows us how we are all flesh and blood. And that means that we deal with the same emotions and same mental, this is what it means by the collective consciousness. And we all have this. And so, you may be sitting there saying, well, I got, XYZ, I don't have those problems. But you'll be surprised at the ways that even you may hold back. And this card usually is about this rich person who's holding everything, hoarding everything. Look at what we've all been doing, hoarding. Going out and buying things in mass because we're afraid. And that is ego, which is survival. And the new paradigm of ascension, the fifth dimensional frequencies and dimensions, because somebody asked me, dimensions is a state of consciousness. There are infinite dimensions. And you are fluctuating between them at all times. The idea about this ascension process is that that we would begin to live, the majority of us, in this fifth dimensional mind. And so one of the things about that fifth dimensional mind is that ability to perceive the polarities with a sense of understanding. You, instead of using it, instead of being afraid, you see it as an opportunity. You see the good and the bad as opportunities. You understand the purpose. And it's a different mindset, whereas in the three-dimensional, we're just like, when something goes wrong, we're suspicious. We think it's an omen of negative, of something bad to come. We see things one way. It's like, yep, if somebody did this, if this happens, then it must be something, look at the stuff that some religions use, oh, they were bad, so these people were sinful, so they got struck down with the flood. That's three-dimensional. Instead of saying, what are we all doing globally? And that's why people refuse to understand the science or to listen to science about, the climate change, because they want to believe in these superstitions. They don't want to accept their responsibility. And because they think it's to accept it means that they're being penalized or judged, and that's not what's going on. It's an opportunity for us to heal, to make changes that are necessary. All right. And then we have the Sun card. And so, we're saying not to hold back on our talents, to recognize, to be adaptable, to recognize that our skills can be applied to any condition. All right. And so if we're not holding back, and then at the end of the week, we have the Sun card. And there's a sense of freedom that comes from this being open to these new possibilities. All right. So that you are no longer being restricted by that perfect condition, needing to have that perfect condition. And you no longer see yourself as needing to hoard, or that you need, or that that you're holding back in some way. So, I want to clarify, the ego, the three-dimensional, is really about survival. And where we're headed is about all of us thriving together in our potential. And so the Sun card gives us a sense that we have this ability to create with this success that we deserve moving forward. Right now, you have the potential for yourself to create the success that you deserve. And that you're going to find that through profound desire to want to uplift others, to want to make other people happy. You really want to stop living in that world where you are stressed and you have anxiety and you're afraid. You're afraid to stand up and be courageous for the just cause. Then realign your missions to uplifting others. And that might be through something that you're already doing, but it's just the way that you see it. Maybe before you were thinking about how am I going to keep afloat, and your intentions are still great and wonderful. You want to help people, but you're always worried about how to keep yourself afloat. And we get it from our human perspective. But if you keep focusing on what you want to accomplish, the service, the valuable service you want to offer to others, to uplift them, to bring wholeness, then you will always have an audience. Do you not see that? So don't let that other thing, don't let those financial things get you, distract you, take you out of that holy alignment. Okay, so let's take a look at the card that's been pulled from the bottom of the deck. And so we have the King of Wands. And I don't know, this card for me is, the King of Wands is a true creative leader, a visionary. And that's the energy that we need to help us to all move forward. The universe is calling, summoning everyone to awaken from your slumber of the three-dimensional, awaken from that fear survival mode, and to start sharing the visions of success and thriving in this world. How, forget all the rules from before. Forget all of that. But you're smart enough. We have many brilliant minds in this world. Everybody is brilliant. And you wouldn't be here if you weren't. You all have the codes of perfection within you to envision a successful fifth dimensional new earth. We don't need to wait for governing bodies to come up with these answers for us. We need to take it to them. It's because our collective voice as citizens, we put so much on them. And we have to take responsibility. When we call them things, like they're corrupt and blah, 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 they can only be seduced, is the word I'm seeing, by these, lobbyists and these big companies and all that money, because our voice is silent. Do you know that your voice is worth more than gold? If each and every one of you started writing to your senators, giving them the ideas for the new earth, or just start setting up things in your communities and doing them and voting and whatever, all the other, our responsibilities, our responsibility, our sense of what our responsibility is undervaluing what our potential. So the world is upset with all the governments, but our collective response as citizens is really undervaluing, is really not an abundance code. And if you were to write to them about how your ideas about how things could be better and what you want to see, and this, and because understand is that your voice is a vote. So your voice is the only thing that can keep them in their positions. And I'm not saying to write to them and say, I don't like you. No, you show them the kind of person that you want to vote for. Don't criticize them, because that makes them get hard, right, in their soul. But if you tell them the kind of person you want to vote for, and this is what I believe we are capable of, and this is the if you are my senator now, if you want me to vote for you, this is the person that I will be voting for. None of these people may be as specific, as perfect to what I have here, but I will be looking for someone who is like this. And if every citizen wrote something that was for the highest good of everyone and let go of all of their affiliations, religion, all this stuff, and focused on the highest good, the highest vision of love, then your voice would become extremely powerful, and you don't have to worry about what these, I don't know what they call them, mega PACs, or the people with all the money. You wouldn't have to worry about their influence. The only reason that they can do that whole negotiation goes through, is because our voice as citizens is silent most of the time until there's an election period.